Could you survive in Napoleon's army? Life in Napoleon's army was a mixture of brutal discipline, grueling conditions, and frequent battles. Although his army, known as the Grande Army, was famous for its victories, life for its rank and file was fraught with danger and hardship. Soldiers, especially new recruits, underwent intensive training. The main element of their training was the drill, which emphasized the need to move in unison. Formation was a key element of the tactics of the time, and the soldiers' survival depended on the accuracy of their execution of commands. Training began with the basic skills of standing, marching, and turning on the spot. Then recruits were taught how to maneuver in ranks so that they could remain in order even under fire. A typical soldier's daily routine: 4 o'clock reveille. Soldiers quickly washed, cleaned themselves, and rolled out their cloaks in which they slept. 4:30. Distribution of morning rations. Breakfast usually consisted of bread and coffee if supplies were available. 5 o'clock. Morning inspection. Commanders checked the appearance, condition of uniforms, weapons, and equipment. 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock. Morning training. Soldiers marched in formation, practiced maneuvers, reloading muskets, and bayonet charges. 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock. Break. During the break, soldiers made minor repairs to their uniforms or equipment. 11 o'clock to 12 o'clock. Engineering work. Soldiers built fortifications, ditches, or bridges depending on the current tasks. 12 o'clock. Lunch. The ration included bread, soup, and a small amount of meat if supplies allowed. 13 o'clock to 16 o'clock. Afternoon training. At this time, exercises were conducted on the interaction of infantry with artillery or cavalry. 16 o'clock to 17 o'clock. Cleaning the camp. The soldiers kept their tents in order and prepared the camp for the night. 17 o'clock to 18 o'clock. Evening parade. Summing up the results of the day, giving orders for tomorrow. 18 o'clock. Dinner. Sometimes the soldiers cooked their own food on small fires. 20 o'clock. Lights out. But if the army was on the march, a night's rest was rare. The soldiers continued to march or performed guard duty. The officers' daily routine: 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. Rise. Breakfast. Officers enjoyed better conditions. They often had separate tents and received better rations than the soldiers. 5:30. Morning inspection of soldiers. The officers made the rounds of their units, checking that the routine was being followed and that their subordinates were ready for training. 6:30 to 10:30. Tactical exercises. The officers supervised the training of their units, teaching them maneuvers and coordination on the battlefield. 10:30 to 12 o'clock. Officers' council. Senior commanders discussed strategy and passed on orders through their adjutants. 12 o'clock to 13 o'clock. Lunch. The officers usually ate together, discussing the current situation and the events of the day. 13:30 to 16 o'clock. Officer training. Particular attention was paid to tactical thinking, map reading, and studying Napoleon's orders. 16:30 to 18 o'clock. Inspecting posts and guards. The officers ensured that order was maintained in the camp. 18:30 to 20 o'clock. Preparing reports. Officers wrote reports on the condition of the soldiers, supplies, and weapons. 20:30. Dinner and rest. However, in the event of military action, officers often prepared for night meetings or checked the execution of orders. Combat training. One of the most important aspects of training was learning to fire a musket. French muskets, although inferior to the British in accuracy, had a good rate of fire, allowing experienced soldiers to fire up to 3 shots per minute. Recruits were taught not only how to load their weapons, but also how to remain calm under pressure. Coordination of shooting in a rank was more important than individual accuracy. Particular attention was paid to rapid reloading in order to maintain intense fire. Physical fitness was also an integral part of training. Soldiers had to endure marches of up to 30 kilometers per day with full equipment, which could weigh up to 25 kilograms. These training sessions were conducted even in difficult weather conditions to toughen up the soldiers and prepare them for the rigors of real campaigns. Engineering skills, maneuvers, artillery, field survival, all these elements created an army that became virtually invincible on the battlefield. Life in Napoleon's army was incredibly harsh, endless training, grueling marches, meager rations, and strict discipline. Only the most resilient and persistent could withstand this continuous stream of trials. But it was from such people that Napoleon created an army that shocked the whole world. What do you think? Could you withstand even one day as a soldier or officer of the Grand Army? Would you survive the merciless training and constant trials? Write in the comments how you would have coped with life in the era of Napoleon, and are you ready for such a challenge? Your answers will help us continue our journey through history.